Guys, welcome to my official preview and predictions video for the upcoming NXT TakeOver Chicago and WWE Backlash 2017 pay-per-view, which is going to be airing live, both from the Allstate Arena in Chicago, May 20th and the 21st. It's going to be a huge weekend of professional wrestling. Really looking forward to both shows. In terms of which show that I'm more excited for, I'd have to give the slight edge to NXT, just because I think on paper it is a slightly stronger card, but I think both shows will deliver and leave me satisfied. So without further ado, we're going to start with NXT TakeOver, give you my predictions and previews for that, and then we break down the Backlash 2017 card. So taking a look here at the NXT TakeOver Chicago card, we have a total of 5 matches. And we'll start from the bottom and work our way to the top. And remember, leave your comments down below for your own predictions for both TakeOver, Chicago, and Backlash. So without further ado, let's start with Eric Young versus Roderick Strong. This match was added this past week on NXT. I really like the way that they've been building up Roderick Strong over the last couple of weeks with those excellent video packages, finally allowing me, somebody who was really not too familiar. I only knew about Roderick Strong, based on his name and somewhat of what he's done in Ring of Honor. I've heard of him, but I didn't know that much about him. Now that we got an in-depth look at his character, like who he is, why he is fighting, he has a family, a wife, it's great. I love when they go in-depth with who these guys are, what makes them tick, and it gives you that extra added motivation and a reason to want to cheer this person. Or, boo them in that case. But in this case, they're trying to get Roderick Strong over as, a babyface, and like I said, he had a good showing against Hideo Itami in that number 1 contenders match, the 2 weeks of that excellent video package series. So I like what they've done coming out of, the last couple of weeks here with Roderick Strong. He's going up against Sanity's Eric Young. I'm going with Roderick Strong getting the win here. I think they're going to slowly build him up. He's definitely a talented hand in the ring. And like I said, now that we know more about his persona, who he is, it's easier to get behind him. So I'm picking Roderick Strong here to walk out with the victory. Move here into the next match, a match that I think has potential to steal the weekend. It's going to be Tyler Bate versus Pete Dunne for the United Kingdom Championship. These two had a really good match back at the UK tournament. They know each other so well based on their work in the United Kingdom, and good friends with one another. So I think these two can go out there and just have a killer match. And I'm a huge fan of Pete Dunne, and I think this is going to be his time to win the United Kingdom Championship with the launch of the UK TV show. He could be that lead top heel on that show, and I like Tyler Bate, but something tells me that Pete Dunne's going to walk out here with the United Kingdom Championship. A championship design that I think is really badass looking. I don't know about you, but I love that UK Championship design. It's one of the better ones in WWE that just doesn't look like a copy and paste design. So give them credit on that. But yeah, keep an eye on this match. This match has, like I said, there are a number of matches up and down this card. I think this is a really stacked NXT TakeOver card. One of the better ones in recent memory. Like I said, NXT's been going through a rebuild, and I feel like we're slowly starting to get that momentum back that was lost when NXT was rated in the draft. So yeah, this should be an outstanding championship match. Another really good match that I'm looking forward to on paper, the ladder match for the NXT Tag Team Championships, pitting the Authors of Pain versus DIY, Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. And with the added stipulation of the ladder match, I think this gives an out for Gargano and Ciampa to regain the NXT Tag Team Championships. They don't have to pin the Authors of Pain. The Authors of Pain, would remain undefeated in, pinfalls when it comes to that. So they could take the loss here in theory and be just fine, because you wouldn't have to pin them. And, because I don't see Gargano and Ciampa coming up to the main roster anytime soon. So I'm going to predict that we see Gargano and Ciampa walk out as your new NXT Tag Team Champions. So this should be a really good match. Gargano and Ciampa, they work well in the underdog role. They thrive in that role. They did it well against the Revival, against the Authors of Pain and the Revival in that awesome triple threat tag team championship match. What a match this was. Now you have the added stipulation of a ladder match. I can't wait to see what these guys come up with, but yeah, I'm picking Gargano and Ciampa, Team DIY, to do it yourself in order to become the NXT Tag Team Champions again. And we have here what was originally scheduled to be a fatal four-way, but due to Ember Moon's injury, this has now become a triple threat match for the NXT Women's Championship. Asuka versus Nikki Cross versus Ruby Riott. I think it's fair to say that this is the safest, easiest match to predict. I just don't see Asuka dropping that championship to anybody but Ember Moon, unless it's potentially the winner of the women's tournament, which I'm looking forward to coming up in June. So we'll have to watch that development and see what the winner gets out of that. Perhaps an NXT championship, women's championship shot. But I just don't feel that either Nikki Cross or Ruby Riott are going to beat Asuka here. It just doesn't feel like the right time for her to drop that championship. I think she continues to hold on to it and potentially drop it in another rematch against Ember Moon. I don't think Ember Moon's shoulder injury is too severe. She wasn't a sling, but I think we'll see her back sooner rather than later, and perhaps in time for TakeOver Brooklyn. You could potentially build to the next Asuka-Ember Moon match. So be that as it may, I think this is the easiest match to predict. I'm predicting that Asuka will retain her NXT Women's Championship. And we get into the main event, a match that I really look forward to. Really excited for this one. Big opportunity. Great to see Hideo Itami back in a prominent position after so many stop-starts. I mean, the guy just couldn't catch a break. I mean, every time, he comes back, gets injured. But now the time is for him to shine. And it is here in this championship match versus Bobby Roode. I'm looking forward to seeing what these two were able to tell. I have a feeling that these two are going to go out there and just have a really good match. I don't know what it is. I just really can't wait to see what these two are able to come up with and what type of story they're able to tell in the ring. Hideo Itami obviously trying to come back and, get to the top, a place that he's been close to, but he's never quite been there in NXT. Every time he seemed to get back up there, he would get hurt and suffer another setback after another setback. And I've enjoyed the story that they've told so far. Bobby Roode highlighting that and, in his promo this week, running down Hideo and saying, his family is going to be disappointed in him, and saying the same things that I was saying here. Every time it seemed like he was on a roll, he would get knocked back down. And, the way that I see this match going, however, I would like to see Hideo win. I don't know if it's going to happen. Let's put it that way. Does it feel right? Is it the right time? I'm not sure. Could it happen? Sure. It could very well happen, but something tells me somehow, some way, Bobby Roode will be walking in and walking out as the NXT champion. I just see Bobby Roode retaining in some type of dirty, heelish fashion, uses something to his advantage, but I just don't see Hideo winning the title here. I think down the line there is definitely a possibility due to the fact that he has never won the NXT championship, but here in Chicago, although it would be a great reaction, the crowd would go nuts when he would pick Roode up for the GTS. The place would go absolutely insane. It would be a great moment. But do I think it's going to happen? I don't. So that's why I'm going with Bobby Roode as retaining his NXT championship. But I think it's going to be a killer match, up and down. This is a really stacked NXT TakeOver card. One of the better cards in a while. Like I said, I felt the last couple of NXTs, really since TakeOver Brooklyn, we've been in kind of a rebuild mode for NXT. And that's going to happen because we have to remember NXT is, after all, developmental. You're going to have guys get called up, and you're going to have to bring people in and introduce them to this new audience, but with talents, like Aleister Black, and you got Hideo Itami back, you got Bobby Roode's champion, DIY, Authors of Pain, so much talent here on NXT, and I feel like it's getting it back the momentum that it's lost since the draft. So this is a show I really look forward to, and I think it will deliver. And I think it'll be better than Backlash. And that's why I'm giving the slight edge to NXT TakeOver in terms of my excitement for the weekend. Looking forward to Backlash, but not quite as much. So with that out of the way, let's move into Backlash. This is going to be my preview and predictions for Backlash 2017, airing live on the WWE Network May 21st from Chicago, Illinois. So it'll be great to have back-to-back events in one of my favorite cities, Chicago. And let's take a look at the Backlash card. We have a total of 7 matches on the main card, 1 match on the pre-show. And let's talk about the pre-show match real quick. Ty Dillinger versus Aiden English. I'd easily predict Ty Dillinger to win here and hopefully have some type of feud, a program, because he's, I'm glad he got called up, but it's just, since the shakeup, since post-WrestleMania, haven't really done anything with him. So let's get past this and hopefully have something for Ty Dillinger. Something, please. Anything. Anything's better than nothing, right? So yeah, I'm predicting Ty Dillinger to easily win this match against Aiden English. Let's move on to the main card. Luke Harper versus Eric Rowan. Announced at the last minute. Have they had a few? I mean, it's been like they had a match a week ago. Maybe they've been doing stuff on Talking Smack. I haven't really been watching Talking Smack in a while. So you guys tell me what's the issue between Luke Harper, Eric Rowan. I feel like both have been lost in the shuffle, especially Luke Harper. He was on a roll pre-WrestleMania, those weeks leading into it. And then ever since he lost, and he lost again, those number one contendership opportunities, it's just, there's nothing for him. I don't have anything for him. He's just doing practically nothing. And he lost to Eric Rowan a week ago. So logic would tell me, since he lost a week ago to Eric Rowan, we're going to see him beat Eric Rowan because it's 50-50 booking. But I would like to see him have something for Luke Harper to do. I pitched a Luke Harper-Ty Dillinger feud. I mean, that would have been something for both guys to do since they really have nothing for either. But they didn't do that for this show. They're just having Luke Harper versus Eric Rowan. I'd like to see Luke Harper get the win here. And then hopefully move on to something. Because he is talented. And it would be nice to see creative just come up with something for him to do instead of absolutely nothing. He's kind of just been treading water here and really lost a lot of momentum that I felt he was gaining. He was actually on a roll. The crowd was actually getting behind him. And then it just kind of nothing. We have Sami Zayn versus Baron Corbin. While I like Sami Zayn, I think Baron Corbin is going to beat him here. And I think he's going to move on and eventually head into Money in the Bank and become Mr. Money in the Bank. And they have big plans for Baron Corbin. Sami Zayn right now, they do not really have those big of plans for him. I'm glad he's on SmackDown, but, he's had some, higher profile matches. He was in the WWE Championship number one contenders match. He's been in the main event of SmackDown and what have you, but he's usually taken the fall, losing. I think down the line, Sami Zayn will get an opportunity here on SmackDown. I think it's for the best that he's on SmackDown because Raw, I don't think there was any hope for him on there. I think there's a better chance down the line for Sami Zayn on SmackDown to get some momentum, get some wins under his belt. But I think right now the focus is on Baron Corbin, and I think Baron Corbin will walk in and walk out defeating Sami Zayn. Should be a good match, though. We have this 6 women's tag match. Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, and Naomi versus Natalya, Tamina, and Carmella. I think the god-awful name of the Welcoming Committee, which made the list, by the way, I think the Welcoming Committee will be walking out the winners because I think this babyface turn by Charlotte Flair's smokescreen, I think she will go back to being a heel, which is what she's better at. I can't buy her as a babyface. It's like Ric Flair, he was just such a great heel back in the day, one of the all-time great heels. And there were moments where he was babyface in his career and what have you, but if you ask him, he would probably tell you that his best work was as a heel. And I feel like Charlotte, she is just a natural heel. It's like The Miz. I can't buy him as a bait because he's just a jerk. He comes across as a jerk, an egotistical douchebag. Same with Charlotte here. I think she will turn on her partners. She will go after the Women's Championship. And I would like to see for SummerSlam, down the line, doing a little fancy booking early, potentially a Charlotte-Becky Lynch program. You can revisit their rivalry, maybe do a singles match for the Women's Championship down the line, but I think Charlotte cost her team the victory here and reveals it was a smokescreen all along. She suckered them in, and that's why I believe Natalya, Carmella, and Tamina will be walking out, the winners of the six women's tag team match. We have the Usos versus Breezango for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. I've loved the Fashion Files segments that they've been doing on SmackDown for the last number of weeks. I felt it's been some of the best things on SmackDown post-draft, because I feel like post-draft, both the entire WWE product has just been kind of lacking in excitement and creativity. It's usually lacking in exciting creativity, but May has been particularly, I'll say, it's just been a boring month for the WWE product, but some of the best things have been the Fashion Files. I think it's just created a great scenario opportunity for Tyler Breeze and Fandango to take a hold of something and make it their own, and they've done a good job of that. When I first saw these segments, when I first saw the logo go up, the Law and Order kind of spoof, I was like, oh, this could either be good or it could be bad, but it actually turned out being pretty good. And the Usos with their 12 Days promo the week before, and then the promo they cut this week on SmackDown, I think the Usos have been awesome, reinvigorated, their characters, which were stale for a long time when they turned heel. It's the best thing for them, and I'm looking forward to seeing what type of match these two teams are able to have. It gives Breezango the opportunity to go in there and, see what they can make the most of. Do I think they're going to win the Tag Team Championships? You never know. But I'm going to predict that the Usos will retain their SmackDown Tag Team Championships. And now we move into the two matches that I am most looking forward to on this show. Shinsuke Nakamura versus Dolph Ziggler. Nakamura making his long-awaited main roster in-ring debut. He arrived to SmackDown Live post-WrestleMania. And I do like the fact that they've saved his in-ring debut for the pay-per-view. It makes it feel like, makes pay-per-view feel more special, and it makes Shinsuke Nakamura feel special. And I think him and Ziggler are going to go out there and tear the house down. Dolph's still one of the best in-ring workers for the company, despite me just not caring about his character anymore. That's more so due to the way that he's been booked. Over the past number of years, I still think he is going to go in there, and him and Nakamura are going to just have a really hard-hitting, physical wrestling match, and it's going to be a great wrestling match, and Nakamura will be victorious. This one, fairly easy to predict, but despite that, I'm looking forward to seeing what these two were able to come up with and just what type of match these two were able to have. And it's off to the races for Shinsuke Nakamura, and I look forward to seeing where he goes from here after he defeats Dolph Ziggler at Backlash. Then we have our two big championship matches. Kevin Owens versus AJ Styles for the United States Championship. I feel like this feud hasn't really gotten off to the races yet, because Owens was, focused on, beating Jericho, and then he lost the United States Championship, then he won it back on SmackDown Live, and then, I don't know. I just would like to have seen more of a back-and-forth promo battle between these two. We got a little bit of it this week on SmackDown, but, Jinder came out, and then they had to shift the focus from, Owens Styles to Jinder Styles. Although I did like the fact that Owens interfered and cost AJ the match this past Tuesday on SmackDown. But, I don't know if these two would have another match at the next pay-per-view, because the next pay-per-view would be Money in the Bank. Maybe this is a one-month feud, and then we move Owens and Styles on to different things. Or we could see this feud prolonged maybe until July. I don't know. We'll have to see. But I think these two are going to go out there and have one of the best matches of the weekend. And I don't see AJ Styles winning the United States Championship due to the fact that Kevin Owens just won the title back from Jericho. He's now a two-time United States champion. I just don't see him dropping the title this fast after losing it to Jericho and then getting it back. I do think Styles will eventually move back into the championship picture, the WWE Championship picture, that is, and Owens will have a long reign as United States champion. I think it'll be a really good match, but I'm predicting KO will retain. So I think that'll be the main event, but I'm going to end my preview with, the WWE Championship match between Randy Orton and Jinder Mahal. My thoughts on Jinder Mahal. What do I think about him? Has he really made the most of this opportunity? To me, I haven't been that impressed. I do like the fact that they linked him up with the Bollywood boys to give him as a heater, help him win his matches, act as his goons, his lackeys. I think that was good. The matches that he had, like this past week, against AJ Styles, he did beat AJ Styles, but I didn't think too much of the match itself. And he beat Randy Orton the week before, so they're giving him wins. He's finally winning after losing and losing. But the real test to me, where this will either sway me to him, say this push is working, or say that it isn't. His biggest opportunity is going to be against Randy Orton for the WWE Championship. See how this match goes. If they go out there and they have a really, really good match, I'll come up here and say it. Wow, he made the most of this. He proved himself in the ring. But it could also go the other way, and we could get kind of just a match. Could just be decent to forgettable. Not sure how this is going to go, which I kind of like. I'm intrigued to see what the match is going to be. I don't think there's possibility that Jinder Mahal beats Randy Orton. I think Rusev will somehow get involved due to the fact that Rusev is presumed to be the next challenger, as he stated. He wants a championship match at Money in the Bank. I think Rusev will get involved. Whether this is in the main event or not, I think he will get involved in this match, and it'll lead to a no disqualification and all types of chaos and carnage. So that's what I'm predicting. Randy Orton will retain his WWE Championship due to interference from Rusev, just wrecking havoc. And it would be great to see Rusev back on television. I love Rusev. So yeah, that's my preview and predictions for both NXT TakeOver Chicago and WWE Backlash 2017. So guys, leave your comments down below. Your predictions for both shows. What matches are you looking most forward to, and what are you least looking forward to? Let me know. Always enjoy getting your feedback. Remember to click that like and subscribe button for more video content coming soon to this channel. Be able to look out for me for my live. I'll be back up here with some live content. It's been a while, but I will be doing live review videos for both NXT TakeOver Chicago and Backlash immediately following both shows. So stay tuned for that. So thank you for watching this video, and I am out. See you guys.